and our boys use it.
All right, that's great.
We're getting a home.
We are.
Still getting a home.
I don't know if it's
Huh.
this thing here, maybe. I don't know.
Would you say something to me?
Claribel Bomne.
You hear that? Wah, wah, wah.
I think that's a refrigerator over there.
And this was different than it's not a steady sound.
Okay. What'd you do today?
Strange sounds. What did I do today? Well, we had company all day. They're building a new...
Okay, maybe say your name over.
Okay, would you tell me your name again?
My name is Claribel Bomne.
Do you go by Claribel or Clara?
Claribel.
Claribel.
If they call me Clara, I answer. I answer to anything with a bell on it, too,
Oh, really?
because I'm
Oh.
miscalled lots of times.
Uh-huh. It's a nice name. Okay, we're rolling. Okay, I don't know a lot about ranching in general myself, so anything I ask, just please don't laugh at me. No.
All right.
Now, did you grow up here?
Yes, I was born just a mile or two from here, up in the edge, just out of the valley. My parents lived 30 miles away up at the ranch.
Did you live near the Proctors?
Well, it was, when I was real small, they lived, I suppose, 15 miles away or something like that. Although my dad and Mr. Proctor always knew each other. And then they moved closer to our place later. That's when I really got to know them.
Were you friends with Sarah Proctor?
Yeah, we knew all of them, and their dad, we called him Proc, would help us brand and do things like that. And we'd help them brand their calves. And we knew all of them. Martha, Sarah's sister, used to come and work for us. When we were haying or busy, she'd come and take care of the kids, and I'd work outside. But we knew Sarah real well, too.
Was it just the kind of lifestyle where you help out your neighbors and your neighbors could be that far away that...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody helped each other whenever someone needed some help. He had a big, long-legged black horse he rode. And he'd sit there quiet, watch it, and all of a sudden that horse would jump. I don't know why. And Proc would get after him and talk at him and jerk him around. And it was really funny. Then he'd settle down and be quiet. Well, when we went to eat dinner, we went to a old homesteader's cabin, and there were no windows and no doors, but there was a cook stove in it. And Carl's wife was ill, and he had asked me if I'd fix dinner, and he said he'd have all the food there, and I'd just get it ready. So he had boiled potatoes, and I had to fry them on this stove and fix dinner. When the men came to eat, my dad had to ask Proc to come in, because he wouldn't come in a house where a white woman was unless someone in her family asked him in. So they told him that was all right, come on in. And the men filled their plates and went outside, and my dad motioned at an open window. And he and Proctor sat on the ground under the window and ate, and I stayed inside, and Daddy asked him questions, and he told him stories. And he wouldn't have told him that if he'd known I was listening. It was very interesting.
What kind of stories did you hear?
Oh, just old-time roundup stories about horses and storms they had and that kind of thing. I don't remember any particular story, but that's the sort of story he had to tell.
Hard.
Oh, the winter of and I guess it was probably winter of 1920, everybody talks about that bad winter, and I wasn't in school. We had a hired girl, which was pretty common. We had neighbor girls were always anxious to work because they didn't go to college. None of them went to college. And my mother was teaching. She rode 3 miles of horseback to school. And most of what I know or what I've heard people tell, about all I remember about the winter is this hired girl would lock us kids out of the house. And her friends had come to visit her, and she'd make us stay outside. And we'd go down, there was a Hereford cow with long horns, it was real gentle, and we'd lie on this old cow and tell her our troubles. And then we'd go back up and we'd knock and tell her we were hungry. And she'd let us in the kitchen, let us eat bread and syrup. That's the way we got in the house. And that's all I can remember about the winter.
How'd they bring the mail up to you when you lived back in that country?
Well, the mail went up Sarpy twice a week. You didn't call it the mail, you called it the stage. And they'd bring groceries and you could ride with them out. But we were 7.5 miles from where the mail came. So it was.
I sure am. I was raised in Montana, and I was raised in the country.
I'm rolling.
Okay. Just so we get your name accurate, can you tell me your full name and spell it for me?
Like Sarah Beebe. Yeah, well, Sarah is S-A-R-A-H, and the Beebe's B-E-E-B-E.
Okay. And is your maiden name Proctor? Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And Proctor is, how do you spell Proctor?
Proctor is P-R-O-C-T-O-R.
Okay, great. Now, are you a native Montanan?
I sure am. I was raised in Montana, and I was raised in the country. Yeah. My sister was raised in town when they were in town, but when I was born, when we moved out in the country, I was born out there. And it was, let's see, what else was there? Some kind of bobcats. Well, few bobcats left in the country.
Did you ever have any problems with your chickens and birds with like foxes or skunks when you lived up there at Reservation Creek?
Yeah. There was skunks once in a while. Boy, I remember one time there was skunks. I heard the chickens making an awful noise in the early morning, and so I grabbed something and got my gun, and I went out there, and the chickens was having a fit out there, and I seen this skunk about to get into a little place we had fixed for the young chickens, and the skunk was about to get into there, so I grabbed my gun, 22, and I run out there, and I shot, and I didn't hit anything, and he went under load and shoot, and I shot true that time. I shot him, and he fell right down there. But I got him, but I thought he was going to get away because he was under the load and shoot, about to go out into the crowd and get away from me. And I got him. And, oh boy, I ruined the place for a long time too. Yeah.
When you were out riding around, did you ever find many agates or arrows?